Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin with breaking news. Authorities in the Northern Valley say they have found a body near Arvilla, North Dakota. Valley News team's Courtney Lockie joins us live from Grand Forks with more on this story. Courtney?
Callie, several law enforcement agencies were searching an area in Arvilla, North Dakota. They were looking for Erin Pederka, who was reported missing earlier this week. Now, the last time she was seen was on July 31st around 10 o'clock. She was dropped off at a house in Arvilla. Now, shortly after noon today, deputies were able to find the body of a woman. This body has not been identified yet. It was brought back here to Grand Forks for an autopsy, so we'll bring you an update as soon as we have one. Reporting live in Grand Forks, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
Thanks, Courtney. And anyone with additional information is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office at 701-780-8280. And staff and faculty from the University of North Dakota took part today in a virtual town hall to address their concerns regarding the cases of coronavirus on campus. The active case count now tops 300. Valley News team's Joshua Piguero listened into the meeting and has information on another college currently taking steps to prevent an outbreak.
On Friday, the University of North Dakota acknowledged it's working to get a handle on COVID-19 cases on campus, but it's limited on what it can do, including requiring all students to get tested.
The Assistant Attorney General has previously indicated what limits exist for us to mandate testing.
Faculty and staff also learned during the town hall they can only encourage students to wear a mask and not ask them why they don't have one on because of federal laws.
Really don't get into why are you not wearing a mask. Really, there may be reasons that person cannot wear a mask.
UND says 600 students are under quarantine while the active case count climbed to more than 300. The school has 385 hotel rooms available to keep students isolated.
The vaccine, I think, would be beneficial to us returning to something more akin to a normal life on campus.
Administrators do say its data of people in quarantine may be inflated in the actual count, as those quarantined may also be counted in the active case count. So far, UND has done 5,000 tests for COVID out of 13,000 people on campus. A success has been offering students incentives.
Opportunities for students to win $500 gift cards to the bookstore for being tested, and apparently that went really well with our students.
North Dakota State University is also dealing with its cases of the novel coronavirus, with 2 Greek houses currently in quarantine. While NDSU is not publicly stating which Greek houses are currently under quarantine, the North Dakota Department of Health is monitoring to make sure that those houses follow protocols. The university has about 56 students currently in quarantine in university housing as of Friday. In Fargo, Joshua Piguero, Valley News Live.
The University of North Dakota says it's looking into housing some staff and faculty in hotel rooms. Right now, those hotels have only been set aside for students. And we had a cloudy morning. The sun is out, it's shining. What can people expect this weekend? Let's check in with Nathan here with your first alert forecast.
Hey, Kelly, happy Friday. Excuse me. Hey, Kelly, happy Friday. We've made it to the end of the week, and it has been a busy one with the clouds and some showers. Good news is things are quieting down as we go into our Friday evening. We see still some clouds hanging on in our southeastern neighborhoods, even some thunder showers heading toward the Duluth area at this hour. But then our high-resolution satellite shows that clear sky, that high pressure, that stable air moving its way in from Canada. And you can actually see pretty clearly those elevated storms out there moving toward the Duluth area on the high-resolution satellite. So that's pretty neat. And the good news is things will stay quiet for us into Saturday, but Sunday, not the same. We do have a cold front coming through on Sunday. Temperatures out the door, 70s for pretty much everybody. 68 Bemidji as the cool spot. And we do, again, expect the northwest winds to keep things cool and bring some drier air in for our Friday night. But of course, Callie, we got that weekend forecast ahead coming up in a couple minutes, including that cold front on Sunday. And we'll break all that down hour by hour coming up in a couple minutes.
All right. Thanks, Nathan. And one man is now in jail after leading police on a chase, then trying to run on foot. Police say it happened around midnight when West Fargo officers went to the 1000 block of Brookwood Lane in West Fargo. They were trying to remove an unwanted male from the property. Authorities say officers later found intoxicated 35-year-old Jeremiah Flugie ignoring police to stop his vehicle. Officers ended the chase due to Flugie's reckless driving while entering Fargo. Fargo officers later arrested Flugie after crashing and attempting to flee on foot. And a leader of a violent gang known as the Slither Gang is now being indicted. U.S. Attorney Drew Wrigley says 26-year-old Abad Aho is facing numerous charges, including robbery, using a firearm during a crime of violence, and distribution of controlled substances. The indictment was unsealed yesterday, alleging that from January through May of 2019, Aho's gang targeted robbery victims who were themselves alleged drug traffickers in North Dakota, Minnesota, and elsewhere. 3 other alleged co-conspirators have been indicted and are awaiting trial. They're suspected of home invasions or arranged meetings where they'd rob people of their drugs and sell the stuff themselves. And the Lyon County Sheriff's Office says 74-year-old Gail Skepansky died in Thursday morning's blast near Marshall, Minnesota. A 71-year-old woman injured in the explosion was taken to a Marshall hospital. Authorities say she is in serious but stable condition. The cause of the explosion, which was felt by some residents in Marshall 2 miles away, is still unknown. And several states, including New York, California, and Texas, say they will not follow controversial new guidance on coronavirus testing. The new CDC had recommended tests for anyone who came into close contact with an infected person. This week, the agency revised that, saying people exposed to the virus who don't show symptoms may not need to be tested. Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPook shows us why the CDC's change is alarming many in the medical community.
If you've had a high-risk exposure, you should be tested.
Dr. Tom Inglesby is an internationally recognized authority on infectious diseases and the director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. He says he does not agree with the Centers for Disease Control's new guidance on testing.
We've been told that contact tracing is the meat and potatoes of trying to stop an epidemic or a pandemic. How does this interfere with that?
If we stop testing contacts, we lose information about what's going on in our own community. We know that something on the order of 40 to 50% of people with this disease in the United States don't have symptoms.
Let's say on day 1, person A is in close contact with person B, and 9 days later finds out person B has just been diagnosed with COVID-19. As early as day 3, person A could have started asymptomatically infecting others. If person A goes into self-quarantine without being tested, those contacts may not be notified of their exposure to coronavirus and may go on to infect others.
I got an example of someone I know whose child was just exposed to a COVID case. That child is going to stay home for 2 weeks no matter what. But if that child also tests positive, then family members have clear risk.
A federal health official tells CBS News the push for the change in guidance came from the Department of Health and Human Services and the White House Coronavirus Task Force.
When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases.
Throughout the summer, President Trump repeatedly blamed widespread testing for generating alarming case numbers and headlines. On Thursday, the Vice President's Chief of Staff, Mark Short, said one reason for the change to the CDC's guidance was the long wait for test results.
The guidance that was updated is because there continue to be backlogs in the system with the testing, particularly for people who are getting tested or asymptomatic.
But Dr. Inglesby says the change does not solve that problem.
The solution to that is to fix the turnaround time. The solution is not to slow down testing.
A few days after the guidance change, the Department of Health and Human Services said in a statement the guidelines received appropriate attention, consultation, and input from fellow task force experts, including CDC Director Redfield, who advised coronavirus-related matters among departments and agencies. And let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers. In Minnesota, the Department of Health is reporting 862 confirmed cases of COVID-19, along with 4 new deaths linked to the illness. In total, over 1,800 deaths have been attributed to the disease. Over 64,000 people are listed as recovered. In North Dakota, there are 314 new cases in the state. The death toll remains at 139, and the active case count is up to 2,163. And starting today, the state of Minnesota will be doing extra compliance checks on restaurants and bars for COVID-19 safety. 3 Minnesota departments signed a letter to check multiple companies each weekend for things like masks being worn by staff and customers and indoor capacity being limited to 50%. This comes after compliant businesses raised concerns about competing establishments not following CDC guidelines.
We have limited capacity, of course. We have about 8 tables that we can seat. But again, all of them are 6 feet apart. We want to make it the most comfortable and normal experience for everyone possible.
The letter warns that bars and restaurants not in compliance could face fines, lose their liquor license, or get an order for the establishment to close. And still ahead tonight, thousands gathered in the nation's capital to continue the fight for social justice.
And if you're heading out this Friday evening, expect clear skies. The wind's calming down a little bit as we head toward the post-sunset hours, but may need a light jacket with temperatures cooling into those low 60s tonight in Fargo and cooling into those upper 50s for our friends there in Grand Forks. Of course, we'll break down your entire weekend forecast next.